I accidentally discovered my wife of 7 years was cheating on me with her ex when her drunk friend mistakenly tagged me in photos of them getting a little too close at their so-called college reunion. I, 34, discovered my wife Ariana, 33, lied about her college reunion to reconnect with her ex-boyfriend. This is the story of how my seemingly perfect 7-year marriage fell apart and how I'm trying to pick up the pieces. 6 weeks ago, my wife Ariana mentioned she was planning to attend her 10-year college reunion in Colorado. For context, we've been married for 7 years, together for almost 9, and things have been great, or so I thought. I work in software development, mainly from home these days, and she's in marketing for a healthcare company. Hey babe, my college is having a 10-year reunion in Colorado next month. Would you want to come? Everyone's bringing their partners, she asked one evening while we were making dinner. I was chopping veggies while she stirred pasta sauce. Her homemade sauce is amazing, BTW. I agreed pretty quickly since I'd never been to Colorado and thought it might be fun to meet the people she'd spent 4 years with. Plus, a weekend away sounded nice. We'd both been working overtime lately with her big product launch and my new project deadline. Ariana seemed super excited about the trip. More excited than I'd seen her in a while about anything. She immediately started talking about hiking trails we could explore and restaurants we should try. There's this amazing brewery near campus that has the best IPA you'll ever taste, she told me, knowing my love for craft beers. She even suggested extending our stay for a couple extra days to make it a mini vacation. We booked flights together, and I took time off work. I even purchased some new hiking boots and a jacket suitable for Colorado weather since my old ones were worn out. For about 2 weeks, Ariana and I spent evenings looking at photos of her college days. She'd point out friends I would meet while sharing funny stories about their college adventures. There was Mark, who had been at our wedding with his wife, Jennifer, who had introduced Ariana to her first job, and Carlos, who organized an annual charity run that Ariana participated in every year. I noticed she never mentioned Tyler, her college boyfriend, though I knew from previous conversations that he had been a significant part of her college experience. They had dated for nearly 3 years before breaking up during their senior year. I remember asking about him once a few years back, and she just said they'd wanted different things after graduation. He was heading to London for a job, and she was staying stateside. Then, about 10 days before the trip, Ariana dropped a bombshell while we were eating takeout Thai food, our Friday tradition when we're too tired to cook. So, there's been a change of plans with the reunion, she said, poking at her pad thai. The organizers changed their minds and aren't allowing spouses anymore due to venue capacity limitations. She seemed disappointed and apologized for the change. I told her it was fine and I'd use the weekend to catch up on projects around the house, maybe finally fix that leaky faucet in the guest bathroom or repaint the office like I'd been promising to do for months. In hindsight, I should have paid more attention to how quickly she changed the subject whenever I asked for more details about the new arrangements. When I specifically asked which other spouses had been uninvited, she vaguely mentioned Mark's wife and a few others before immediately bringing up an issue with her work project. The night before her flight, Ariana packed while I watched a basketball game in our bedroom. She seemed to take particular care with her outfit choices, bringing several more options than she typically would for a 4-day trip. She packed her nicest dresses, including a black one with a low back that she had purchased recently but hadn't yet worn. That's a lot of clothes for a college reunion, isn't it? I asked casually during a commercial break. She barely glanced up from her suitcase. I just want to look nice in the photos. You know everyone will be comparing how they've changed since graduation, she replied. It was a reasonable explanation, but something about her intensity while organizing her suitcase made me uneasy. She also packed more makeup than usual and spent extra time organizing her toiletries, including that expensive perfume she usually saves for our date nights. The day after Ariana left for the reunion, Friday, I was working from home when my phone buzzed. It was a text message from Mark, one of Ariana's college classmates who I'd met at our wedding. His message stated, "Hey man, I thought you should know Ariana has been spending all her time with her college boyfriend, Tyler. I saw them go into his cabin together and stay for over an hour while everyone else was at a group hike. She told everyone you couldn't come because of an important work project. Not trying to cause trouble, but thought you should know." He included a photo of the reunion schedule, which clearly listed no restrictions on bringing partners. In fact, there was even a section highlighting activities for spouses and partners who weren't alumni. I stared at the message for nearly an hour. Ariana and I hadn't been having any problems, at least none that I was aware of. We'd been talking about starting a family next year, for crying out loud. We had just finished renovating our kitchen and were planning to tackle the bathrooms next month. We'd even started looking at larger houses in neighborhoods with good schools. I'd never suspected her of being dishonest before. I trusted her completely. That's what made this so disorienting, it came completely out of nowhere. I called her that evening to check how things were going, trying to keep my voice casual despite the hurricane of emotions inside me. During our conversation, Ariana described the reunion as great so far, mentioning a hike they'd taken that morning and a barbecue lunch. When I casually asked about the venue and whether the no spouses policy was worth it, she quickly confirmed it was due to limited rooms at the lodge. Then I asked if Tyler was there, trying to make it sound like an afterthought. After a noticeable pause, she claimed, no, he couldn't make it. He's living in Europe now for work. I think London or something. After hanging up, I checked our cell phone bill online. There were multiple calls between Ariana and a number I didn't recognize in the weeks leading up to the reunion. The calls had become more frequent as the reunion approached. The most recent call had been the day before she left, lasting 47 minutes. I copied the number and texted Mark, asking if he knew whose number it was. He confirmed it belonged to Tyler, adding that Tyler had moved back from London 6 months ago following his divorce. So not only was Ariana spending time with her ex at the reunion, but she'd been in contact with him for weeks beforehand, and she'd lied about him still being in Europe. I packed a bag and drove to my sister's house. She's a family law attorney, yeah, the irony isn't lost on me. I showed her Mark's text, the reunion schedule, and the phone records, then explained the situation. My sister cautioned against jumping to conclusions, suggesting I talk to Ariana when she returned since the calls could be innocent. When I pointed out Ariana had lied about Tyler not being there and told everyone I couldn't come because of work, my sister acknowledged the concern but reminded me that 7 years of marriage deserved more than 3 days of doubt. I slept on my sister's couch for the next 3 nights. Ariana didn't call me again after our conversation, which seemed strange for a 4-day trip. She texted a few generic updates and photos of group activities, but nothing personal. The photos always showed large groups, never just her or her with specific people. I checked social media and found several photos from the reunion posted by other attendees. In 3 of them, I could see Ariana and Tyler in the background, standing close together. In one, his hand was on her lower back. In another, they were sitting apart from the main group, deep in conversation. When she was scheduled to return, I went back to our house to confront her. I printed out the phone records, screenshots of the photos I'd found online, and the reunion schedule showing no spouse restrictions. I placed them on the kitchen table and waited. When Ariana walked in and saw me sitting at the kitchen table with papers spread out, her smile faded. Her expression shifted from surprise to concern as she noticed the documents. "What's all this?" she asked, her voice unnaturally high. "Why don't you sit down and tell me about the reunion?" I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Tell me why you lied about spouses not being allowed. Tell me why you told everyone I had a work project. Tell me why you lied about Tyler not being there." During our confrontation, Ariana admitted Tyler was at the reunion but insisted nothing happened and they were just friends now. When pressed about her lies, she confessed the organizers hadn't actually banned spouses, she just thought it might be awkward since Tyler would be there. "I was trying to avoid an uncomfortable situation for everyone," she claimed. When I showed her the phone records of her 47-minute call with Tyler the day before the trip, she tried to deflect by calling my checking of phone records invasive and a violation of her privacy. When that didn't work, she claimed Tyler had called about the reunion because he was nervous about seeing everyone after his divorce and wanted to know who was coming. I pointed out that this was the 12th call between them in 3 weeks, not just a one-time conversation about attendees. I mentioned I'd already talked to my sister about divorce options. That's when Ariana became visibly upset, tears finally appearing. She insisted nothing happened with Tyler. According to her explanation, they only went to his cabin to get something from his car, and Mark didn't see them come back out because he'd already left for the hike. I showed her the social media photos with his hand on her back. She dismissed it as people being squeezed together for a group picture, though I could clearly see space around them in the photo. I told her I would be staying at my sister's that night because I needed time to think. Ariana followed me while I packed, her voice growing increasingly desperate as she insisted I was overreacting to nothing and that I was ready to throw away 7 years of marriage over harmless texts and photos. She brought up our future plans for children and the house we had been considering buying. As I zipped up my bag, she blocked the bedroom doorway, pleading for me to stay and talk things through. I simply waited until she moved aside, then left. Ariana called 27 times that night. She left 14 voicemails, each one more emotional than the last. She texted constantly over the next few days, alternating between apologies, explanations, and accusations that I was being unreasonable. My friends were split when I finally started talking to them about the situation. Half said I should at least hear her out completely, that marriages have survived worse. The other half said the lying alone showed who she really was. I couldn't eat. Lost 7 pounds in 5 days. Couldn't sleep without medication. I just kept going over every moment of our relationship, wondering if there were signs I missed, if there were other lies I'd never caught. Update 1, 2 weeks later. I want to thank everyone who commented on my original post. The support from this community has been overwhelming during the worst weeks of my life. I've decided to go forward with the divorce. After talking with my sister and carefully considering everything, I realized I can't move past this breach of trust. I contacted Mark again to get more details. He agreed to meet me near his workplace for coffee. Mark showed me more photos from the reunion and pointed out how Ariana and Tyler sat together at every meal and activity. He showed me a group photo from the first night's dinner where assigned seating had been arranged alphabetically, but Ariana had switched her name card to sit next to Tyler instead of her assigned seat. Mark explained that he hadn't wanted to get involved, but when he saw them disappear during the hike, it seemed wrong. His wife had noticed too and encouraged him to tell me. Regarding the cabin incident, Mark provided a timeline that contradicted Ariana's story. The hike was scheduled for 90 minutes through a nearby national park trail. Ariana and Tyler disappeared about 15 minutes into the hike, claiming they forgot something at the cabins and would catch up. They weren't present when the group returned, and didn't show up for the post-hike lunch. They reappeared about 30 minutes after everyone had finished eating, making their absence much longer than the few minutes Ariana had claimed. Tyler had made a joke about getting lost on the trail that had made several people uncomfortable given how obvious their absence had been. When I asked why he decided to tell me, Mark explained that he and his wife had experienced infidelity in their relationship years earlier, and they'd worked through it, but only because the truth came out immediately. He believed secrets destroyed marriages faster than mistakes. I met with Ariana at a coffee shop to tell her my decision. She arrived 20 minutes early and had already ordered my usual drink. She brought a folder containing photos from the reunion, pointing out group pictures with many people including Tyler, trying to prove nothing inappropriate happened. But those photos only showed the organized activities, not the free time when Mark said they were alone together. She had also printed emails from the reunion organizer discussing logistics, but none mentioned any restrictions on spouses. I explained this wasn't just about Mark's account but about the lies she told to ensure I wouldn't be there while her ex was. The fact that she had created an elaborate deception showed a fundamental breakdown of trust. Ariana acknowledged making a mistake in how she handled the situation but continued to deny anything happened with Tyler. She suggested marriage counseling, even mentioning she had already scheduled a preliminary appointment for the following week. The next day, I started looking for apartments. I found one near my workplace and signed a 6-month lease. When I told Ariana I'd be moving out, she called her parents. They came over that evening and tried to intervene, with her father emphasizing that every marriage has rough patches and her mother crying and pleading for us to try counseling. I moved most of my personal items to the small apartment the following weekend. 2 friends helped me transport my belongings while Ariana was at her parents' house. Ariana began telling our friends her version of events, portraying Mark as a troublemaker and me as unreasonable. She claimed I had misinterpreted innocent interactions and overreacted without giving her a chance to explain. My sister filed the initial divorce paperwork, citing irreconcilable differences. Ariana texted that she still hoped I would change my mind before things progressed too far. Update 2, 1 month later. The divorce is moving forward. Ariana initially contested it, claiming irreconcilable differences wasn't a valid reason given the circumstances. My sister explained this was just a delay tactic as our state recognizes no-fault divorce. Ariana has been alternating between apologetic messages and angry accusations. She showed up at my apartment twice, once with flowers and once with divorce papers covered in handwritten notes contesting various terms. During the second visit, she refused to leave until I spoke with her, resulting in an uncomfortable standoff in the hallway of my building. My neighbor eventually intervened. My building manager has been instructed not to let her in anymore. Ariana also contacted my sister directly, trying to convince her to stop representing me. She sent my sister emails claiming I was acting irrationally and didn't truly want the divorce. Last week, I ran into one of Tyler's friends, Jamie, at the grocery store. We'd met at our wedding, and he recognized me while I was shopping. During our conversation, I mentioned the situation with Ariana and Tyler at the reunion. Jamie appeared confused and revealed that Tyler had told him Ariana was all over him the whole weekend. According to Jamie, Tyler said Ariana had claimed our marriage was having problems and was probably headed for divorce anyway. Jamie then disclosed that Tyler had admitted they hooked up the last night of the reunion. When I asked for clarification, Jamie confirmed that Tyler specifically said they had slept together. He apologized for being the one to tell me this information, but felt I should know the truth. Jamie added that Tyler had mentioned feeling conflicted about the situation because he knew me from the wedding, but Ariana had been so persistent and had assured him our marriage was essentially over already. According to Jamie, Tyler had shown him text messages from Ariana sent during the reunion that were explicitly romantic in nature. I thanked Jamie for the information and called my sister to relay what I'd learned. She advised me not to confront Ariana with this information yet, explaining it could be useful during divorce proceedings. That evening, Ariana showed up at my apartment unannounced after a neighbor let her into the building. She brought dinner from my favorite restaurant and asked to talk. For nearly an hour, she repeated her previous explanations. She was just helping a friend, nothing happened, Mark misunderstood, she loved me and would never cheat. Throughout her monologue, I remained silent, thinking about what Jamie had told me that day. When she finished, I, against my sister's advice, told her about my encounter with Jamie and Tyler's claim that they had hooked up at the reunion. She became visibly angry and insisted Jamie was lying and Tyler wouldn't say that. She suggested Tyler might have told Jamie to lie because he was upset that she had stopped talking to him after the reunion when she realized their friendship wasn't worth risking her marriage. "Why would you believe a virtual stranger over me?" she demanded, her voice shaking. When I asked if she admitted to continuing to talk with Tyler after the reunion, she became defensive. She gathered her things and left abruptly. The next day, she sent a long email claiming she had contacted Tyler, who denied telling Jamie anything about hooking up. A week later, I received a call from Tyler. He explained that Ariana had been calling him repeatedly, sometimes from different numbers when he blocked her, accusing him of spreading rumors. When I directly asked if he had told Jamie that he and Ariana slept together, Tyler admitted to exaggerating when talking to Jamie. He claimed that he and Ariana had spent a lot of time together at the reunion but had only kissed, not slept together. He said the kiss happened on the final night after they had both been drinking at the farewell dinner. Tyler added that Ariana had told him our marriage was having problems, claiming we hadn't been connecting lately and she was confused about what she wanted. When I mentioned that we had been planning to have a baby the following year and weren't having problems, Tyler sounded surprised. He apologized for his part in the situation. After that call, I forwarded Tyler's contact information to my sister. I didn't respond to Ariana's email defending herself. 2 days later, she unexpectedly accepted the divorce terms my lawyer had proposed, including our agreed division of assets. My sister suggested Ariana might have realized Tyler had spoken to me and had decided to cut her losses rather than have more details emerge during contested proceedings. Update 3, 1 more month later. The house has been listed for sale, and we've already received 2 offers above asking price. We've agreed to split the proceeds evenly after paying off the mortgage. Ariana came to the apartment again, this time with her mother. They brought boxes to collect some household items we'd agreed she could take. Her mother repeatedly tried to engage me in conversation about marriage difficulties and second chances while Ariana gathered her things. As they were about to leave, Ariana asked to speak with me alone while her mother waited in the car. Once alone, Ariana's demeanor changed. She appeared more somber than during previous interactions. She stated she needed to clear her conscience and admitted lying about why I couldn't come to the reunion and spending significant time with Tyler there. However, she insisted they never slept together and only shared one kiss after the farewell dinner when they had both been drinking. She claimed she stopped it from going further and had immediately regretted the kiss. She didn't understand why Tyler would tell Jamie they had hooked up, suggesting perhaps in his mind a kiss counted as hooking up, or he was exaggerating to save face. She also acknowledged deleting text messages between her and Tyler before the reunion, admitting their conversations had sometimes ventured into reminiscing about their past relationship, which she knew would hurt me if I saw them. She claimed the cabin incident had been innocent. They had gone to get something from his car but had ended up talking for longer than intended about his recent divorce and his feelings of failure. When I asked why she was telling me this now, Ariana explained that since the divorce was happening regardless, she wanted me to know the truth. She handed me an envelope containing concert tickets for a band we both enjoyed. She said she had purchased them before the reunion as a surprise for our upcoming anniversary. She didn't expect me to use them with her but thought I might want them anyway. After she left, I received a text from Tyler stating Ariana had asked him to message me. He reiterated that they didn't sleep together at the reunion but only kissed. He admitted telling Jamie something happened while drunk but insisted that was an exaggeration. Their stories now matched, which briefly made me pause. However, I then recalled all the previous lies. Even if they only kissed, Ariana had created an elaborate lie to spend time with an ex-boyfriend, then lied repeatedly when confronted. The pattern of deception had destroyed any foundation of trust. The next day, Mark sent me screenshots of a heated exchange between him and Ariana, where she blamed him for ruining her marriage by texting me. In her messages, she admitted she and Tyler had discussed their past relationship during the reunion and reminisced about old times. She also referenced inside jokes and harmless flirting that shouldn't have been taken seriously by observers. I've focused on establishing my new life. I purchased furniture for my apartment instead of using the temporary pieces I'd brought from our house. My sister introduced me to her husband's friend who needed help renovating his basement, which has given me a project to focus on during evenings and weekends. Ariana has stopped reaching out as frequently. According to mutual friends, she's been telling people she made a mistake but that my unwillingness to forgive is the real reason our marriage ended. Final update, the divorce is final. The divorce was finalized last week. I expected to receive the final papers without any drama, but that's not what happened. 2 days before our divorce was to become official, I received an email from Ariana. The subject line was the whole truth. I almost deleted it without reading, but curiosity got the better of me. In the email, Ariana finally admitted that she and Tyler had indeed slept together during the reunion. Not just once, but twice. She claimed she'd been fighting the divorce so hard at the start because she couldn't face admitting the full truth, even to herself. According to her email, Tyler had reached out to her a month before the reunion, and they'd been communicating regularly. When she learned he was attending, she deliberately created the story about spouses not being welcome. She provided details I hadn't known before. Their first night together had been planned in advance, not a spontaneous decision influenced by alcohol as she had previously suggested. She had arranged to meet him at his cabin after the welcome dinner, claiming to others she needed to make a work call. Their second encounter occurred after the farewell dinner, when most attendees were distracted by group activities. She expressed regret for everything, and especially how she'd tried to make me look unreasonable to our friends for wanting a divorce. She acknowledged manipulating the situation by only admitting to parts of the truth when confronted with evidence. She ended by saying she wasn't asking for forgiveness, just wanting to stop living with the lies. I forwarded the email to my sister without comment. She called me immediately to check if I was okay. I confirmed I was fine, having suspected as much all along. When she asked if I wanted to use this admission in the divorce proceedings, I declined, stating the terms were fair as they were and I just wanted it completed. The day after the divorce was finalized, Ariana's sister called me. We had always gotten along well during family gatherings. She'd learned about Ariana's confession email and wanted to apologize for how her family had treated me throughout the process. She explained that Ariana had finally told their parents everything, and they were mortified about how they had pressured me to reconcile. I assured her it wasn't their fault, as they were simply supporting their daughter as should be expected. 2 days later, I received another email from Ariana requesting to meet one last time to return some of my personal items she'd found while packing up the house. I agreed to meet at a coffee shop. Ariana arrived 10 minutes late and handed me a small box containing an old watch that had belonged to my grandfather, some photographs from my childhood that had been mixed with hers, and a few other mementos I'd forgotten about. The watch had been missing for months, and I had accused Ariana of misplacing it during cleaning. She admitted she had found it long ago but had hidden it during an argument, then forgotten about it until packing. After an awkward silence, she thanked me for not using her confession email against her legally. I simply stated that wouldn't have benefited either of us. Her appearance had changed, she had cut her hair short and looked thinner than when I'd last seen her. She mentioned continuing with therapy, trying to understand her actions. We finished our coffee in silence. As we were about to leave, she asked if I would consider staying in touch occasionally, as friends. I declined politely, explaining I thought a clean break would be healthier for both of us. She nodded and didn't push further. Thank you, Reddit, for being there through this entire journey. When I first posted here around a year ago, I was completely lost. Your advice, support, and similar stories helped guide me through the darkest period of my life. I don't recognize the person I was a year ago, sitting shell-shocked at my kitchen table with printed phone records. I'm different now, stronger, more cautious maybe, but also more at peace with myself. I learned that sometimes the people we trust the most are capable of the deepest betrayals, but also that it's possible to rebuild after everything falls apart. Dr. Wife lied about her college reunion to meet up with her ex-boyfriend, repeatedly lied when confronted, finally admitted to sleeping with him after months of denial. Divorce is now final, and I'm slowly rebuilding my life.